What does that remind you of? What does that remind you of? Is that not Harry Potter? Okay, we have the emerald green and the blue and the orange and the red and yellow. Like, are those not the freaking houses of Harry Potter? Like, come on. Hi, I'm Chanel Shea, and this is Happy Little Knits. Okay, hopefully you can hear me okay. My microphone didn't work very good in my last video, so hopefully you can hear me all right. So, hi. We have another podcast to do today. It's been a very long time since I filmed a podcast. I think I last uploaded, I think it was like a month ago when I last did a podcast. I've been doing like other videos here and there, but life has just been very busy. And I also kind of did this intentionally just because I wanted to give myself enough time to get some stuff done, to have stuff to show you in a podcast. So, first things first, I don't remember if this was an FO in my last podcast, but if not, I'm going to talk about it. This is my melange sweater by Petite Knit. I feel like now that I'm saying it, I feel like it might have been an FO. Well, anyway, if you're new here and you haven't seen it, or in case this was a whip, my last podcast, this is my melange sweater by Petite Knit. This is my second Petite Knit pattern that I've done. I know this is kind of like an odd angle, so I can't really show the full thing. But yeah, I knit this up. I think this is the medium size. And I used Big Twist in their Heather with the colorway beige. Because if you look, it's like brown with some... maybe you can't really see. It's brown with like some cream mixed in, so it's like two strands of brown and two strands or one strand of white or cream mixed in with it, twisted together. And as you can see, well, maybe you can't see, but she's pilling real bad. I wear this all the time. I cannot stop wearing it. It is so comfy. And here in Washington State, it is very rainy out. And it is so cold, okay? So I'm really thankful to have a very comfy, warm, super oversized, handmade sweater. This is my first sweater, complete knitted sweater that I made for myself. Just a little backstory if you're new here, or also because I haven't talked about it in a while. I've been knitting. Oh yeah. I started knitting, like actually getting into knitting, not just like knitting random things here and there, but like actually knitting. And I think I knit my first pair of socks. Oh yeah, that's what it was. My first pair of socks in January or February of last year because I was pregnant. Yeah, okay, yeah, sorry. So I started knitting. This is my second year of knitting. And the first year I started knitting when the month that I got pregnant was when I got into when I really got into knitting. I knit myself and my husband a pair of socks, and then I started other projects, and then all of summer, so that was like January, February, and March. And then by March, I was so sick all the time. So I stopped knitting during the first trimester of pregnancy. And then all of my second trimester was in the summertime. So I really didn't want to knit. And then I didn't start knitting again until this month last year when my daughter was born. So this is my second year, but it's been like a total of a year's worth of knitting, I'd say. So this is my first complete knit sweater for myself. This is the only sweater that I have, if that makes sense. So I'm wearing it all the time because it's so comfortable. It's so cold here, and I needed a comfortable sweater to wear. So with all that being said, this is my melange sweater. Okay, so it's been a very long time, like I said, since we have talked. So we have a lot to catch up on. We have been sick for the last 2 weeks. So I'm getting over a cold, so if I sound really annoying and nasally, that's why. And Sophie is no longer sick, so she has a lot of energy. Plus, she just woke up from a nap, so you might hear her in the background being crazy. Okay, so I have a couple FOs and a couple whips. The first FO that I have to talk about today, I'm so excited about it. My last podcast, I was talking about a bunch of yarn that I had just got and plans that I had for the yarn. And I don't believe I even cast this on yet in my last podcast. So for this to be a whip, that's how you know it's been a while. But this is it. This is my daughter's sweater that I made. This is the, oh crap, what is it called? It's by Tin Can Knits. That's who it's by. It's by Tin Can Knits, but I can't remember the name of the pattern, but I'll put it up here and then in the description as well. But this is my daughter's second hand knit sweater by me. The first one I made was when she was 3 months old, and I literally just wung it. Like, I just knit until I was like, yeah, it looks like it fits. Yeah, well, I wasn't following a pattern. So this is her first official, like, pattern baby knit, I should say, or my first and her first, like, official sweater. But I did the size 1 to 2 years, and it's pretty decently sized. I'd say it's on the smaller side, but it fits her perfectly right now. She just turned a year old, and it fits so good. Yeah, she's really excited about it, but I don't think she's gonna be able to wear it for very much longer because it is extremely stretchy. I will say that. It is so stretchy, but like, you know, wearing a knit that has to stretch on you isn't very comfortable, so I don't know, but yeah, I'm like obsessed with it. It's so cute. It's blocked, everything. She's worn it already, and I'm obsessed with it. She's going to wear it for Christmas. I know it's not very Christmassy, but the white reminds me of snow, and the purple and blue reminds me of like Christmas lights. I don't know. So yeah, it's all stockinette, but along the arm is garter. So if you remember me talking about this, like my acquisitions. Hi. It's a new day. Let me bring you in closer here. Yeah, so it's a new day, and I had filmed that entire video. It was an hour and a half long, and while I was editing yesterday, I found out that like 7-ish minutes in, my audio cut out and my microphone stopped working, so that entire video didn't have audio. So now we're trying again today. Yeah, I don't even remember where I left off. I think I was talking about this. Yes, so I was talking about my daughter's Flax Light sweater by Tin Can Knits. Yes. Oh man, the first version of this video was so good. And now I kind of have to rush through this one because it's getting late and we're running out of daylight, and yeah. Anyway, so this is the Flax Light sweater that I knit for my daughter. I knit this as a birthday present. She just turned 1 last week, and yeah, I had a lot of fun knitting this. This is the size 1 to 2 year size, and I was saying that it's like a decent size. It fits her really well, the sleeves and everything. I have some pictures that I can insert, and yeah, it fit really nice, but it was kind of snug. So I think my gauge was off. I think I maybe have knit this a little too tight, but I don't know, it fit fine for the most part. This is going to be her Christmas sweater, just because I feel like the white reminds me of snow, and then like the purple and blue and everything kind of reminds me of like Christmas lights. So yeah. And then I was talking about, oh yes, okay, so I was talking about how I didn't want a lot of texture. So I just found this pattern, and it has just like some basic garter on the sleeves, so it's not too distracting and it's not too much to look at. I think it actually is a really nice detail. Yeah, so you can kind of see here it's like nice and smooth, and then some garter, and it looks really, really good in my opinion. Another thing I wanted to point out was, if you look at my stitches, see how they kind of like look wide and like just not so good, but then like the sleeve is nice and flat, and then like if you look at it this way, like the stitches kind of sit on top of each other and they just don't look that nice, but these ones are nice and smooth and flat. So I wanted to mention that because when I first got into fiber arts years ago, I got into crocheting first. And when you do crochet, you hold if you're right-handed, you hold your yarn with your left hand and you crochet with your right hand. And so I got used to the continental style of holding my yarn. So when I learned how to knit, I kind of had to like teach myself in a way and like just follow a lot of tutorials and stuff. And when crocheting, I hook my yarn a certain way. And so with knitting, when I would go through a knit stitch, I would scoop the yarn up and pull it through, so the yarn was going behind the needle. But then I found out recently that you're supposed to actually scoop it through to where the yarn is in front of the needle instead of behind it. Yeah, so I learned that, you know, I would finish, like whenever I'd finish my knitting, I would look at it and then I'd look at the pattern or like look at other people's versions and just think like, how come mine doesn't look like that? Like mine just looks off. Like if you can see, if I bunch the stitches together, like so it's not stretched or anything. I don't know if you can really tell, but like, can you see that they're like sitting on top of each other instead of laying flat? Oh gosh. So I learned that that's because the way that I was knitting, it was actually kind of like backwards. So my knit stitch were sitting like this instead of like this. And so the texture and the tension and the gauge was always off. But then while knitting this, I learned how to knit the right way. So that's why all these stitches are nice and flat and even and sit together, like they sit together the right way. That is my daughter's flax light sweater. I absolutely love it. I know right now I don't seem like it, but that's because I really don't feel good today. But yeah. Anyway, so I was talking about things that I wanted to do with that yarn. This one, which is what I used to make her sweater. Thanks. Do you want to make an appearance?
Sure. Are you filming?
Yes. Husband appearance.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you.
Yep.
Love you.
Love you.
Anyway, so this is yarn that I got from Hobby Lobby. It is their Yarn Bee 100% superwash merino wool fingering weight in the colorway Zahara, I believe. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just pulled that off the top of my head. I haven't looked at that label in so long. Anyway, so I got 2 of these, and one of the things I wanted to make was a sweater, and that's how I got my daughter's sweater. And then I had a lot of it left over from that first hank, and so one day I think I talked about this in my last podcast, but one day I was just sitting there. Oh no, I talked about it in my knit and chat maybe. But I was sitting there at community group and I was just like, you know what? I'm going to do something quick and easy and something I can do without thinking about it. So I knit my very first mitten. I love it so much. It is so cute. Fits really good. So this is a free pattern that I found on Ravelry. I'll link it down below. I don't remember what it's called, but here's the top. Here's the thumb. And I did the medium size just because I wanted it to be a little bit, I like my mittens loose on my hands. I don't like them when they're like snug, you know. And I made some mods to it. I did this a while ago, so I don't exactly remember the mods, but I know that I made the hand portion. I didn't do as many rounds as it said to do, I believe. And then I think because you're supposed to do like some decrease rounds, and then a few rounds of like regular knit, and then some more decrease and then knit, and then all your decreases. And I think I skipped those 2 chunks of just regular knitting. I'm pretty sure it just went right into the decreases. You can kind of see the decreases there. But I'm knitting the second one. I started this yesterday, I want to say. Oh yeah, by the way, this one took me, I literally knit this in a day. Like, this went so fast. This pattern is really easy to follow. It is kind of confusing from time to time though, because I don't know if it's because it was translated into English from a different language or what, but it says rows instead of rounds. And then when you join for the thumb, it doesn't say join in the round. So it was kind of confusing to understand in some parts, but for the most part, it was actually really easy to just follow through. But anyway, so this is my second one that I have. I have the thumb stitches sitting on this needle here. I have the cuff and the hand. I'm doing the decreases. With this one, I can't remember the mods that I made with this, but with the mods that I made, I do notice that it kind of feels weird at the thumb. So like here's where it joins, but like, so like here's where it's joined in the round, but like where it should be sitting is like way down here, you know. And then my fingers are like pushing on this because I did the too many decrease rounds and not enough of the in-between just regular knit rows. So overall, the slouchiness of it is really nice. It's really this fabric is very drapey and very warm and comforting, but I just wish that I would have just followed the pattern as is, because it is hitting my finger and it's like pushing on it, you know. So with that being said, with this one, I'm just following the pattern all the way. I'm not modding it in any way. Let me see if I can get this to sit right. But yeah, so I have this, and then here's my thumb stitches on hold. And yeah, so I was able, out of one of those skeins, I was able to get Sophie's sweater, this mitten, and the entire cuff. So all of the hand portion, I have been using the second skein. And so when I'm done with this, I think I'm going to use the rest of this to maybe knit maybe some socks, I'm thinking. This podcast really does not want to be filmed. My phone just died. Okay, moving right along. So I showed you the sweater and the mittens. I'm almost done with that second mitten, and then as soon as I'm done with that, I'm going to cast on a mitten mittens for my husband. I plan on casting on mittens for my husband, and I have this knit and crochet premium yarn. I don't know who it's by. It's just knit and crochet is like the brand, I guess. But this is the yarn that I have. And I'm going to knit this up I'm going to knit him a pair of mittens, but I'm going to try and see if I can figure out, I was thinking about it. We just got home. We were like, hey, take it easy. We were out adventuring, and I was working on the mittens in the car. And so I was thinking about the construction of it, but I might be able to figure out how to do the kind where the top can fold back and button to the hand. I think that would be really practical for him to use. He gets up very early in the mornings to go to work, and sometimes he has to work. He doesn't work in the office. Sometimes he has to work and help out in the shop, and it's really cold in the shop. So if he could use his mittens and have his fingers free, maybe not while he's working, but you know, I don't know. I think it'd be really practical for him. So I'm going to use this brown. The colorway is Sequoia. If I can't figure out how to do it, I feel like I'm thinking about it and I feel like I might be able to figure it out, but if not, then I'm going to just find a pattern and follow that pattern. But yeah, so I had bought that yarn a while ago and I got this yarn to go with it. I don't know why it is looking messy like this. But yeah, I don't have the label for it either, but I got these two together from Joann's and I think I'm gonna make myself a beanie with this one. It's this like cream color with notes of like caramel. It kind of reminds me of kettle corn. But yeah, so I'm gonna knit a beanie with this. I'm in a season of life where I'm like, I've knit a few sweaters, so I have that on my belt. But now I'm thinking of practicality and I'm like, okay, in the wintertime, especially last year when we had our baby, something that we need is hats and scarves and socks and mittens. So now I'm like, okay, we're going into the cold season. These are the things we need. I need to start working on these. So definitely lots of hats and mittens and socks in the near future. Oh, this is really out of order, but I'm just kind of going down the list as it comes up. So my next whip, I don't remember how far I got with this last time I talked to you, but I wanted to knit Maisie the pig for my daughter for her birthday. This is the body, the arms, and the first leg that I have. Obviously it's not done and her birthday was last week, so this is now going to be her Christmas present. I have the other leg, the arms, the other leg, the tail, the head, and the nose all knit up. I just need to stuff them and sew them onto the body. And then I need to make the ears and then maybe use some black yarn to like sew on some eyes. And then the pig, Maisie herself, will be done, but then I need to make her a dress. And I talked about maybe doing the little booties for her, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to do the dress and then call it good. This became one of those knits where like I was having a lot of fun making it, but then after a while I got really bored because I was working on it for too long, and so that's how I started working on her sweater. And I haven't come back to this since because it's just sewing it up is very tedious and I don't want to do it. So yeah, I have to finish that up because Christmas is coming up. Okay, so next on the list I have this sock that I finished back in, I think July when I finished it. This is my red sock that I have been talking about for a long time with the red yarn. We all know if you've been following me for a while. So this is the second sock that I have. This is how much I have so far. I have to just do a few more rounds of the leg and then I can do the heel. I was using my ChowGoo 9-inch circular needles. I have 2.5 millimeter needles that I was working this up, but I found that with these two strands held together, the yarn was too thick, and so it was hurting my hands a lot to work on a small circumference, and I was straining a lot, and the stitches kept falling off the needles really easily. So just the other day I switched them over to my Knitter's Pride Mindful Collection circular needles, and they didn't have a 2.5. They only have, in the collection that I have, it goes from 2.25 to 2.75. So I was like, 2.25 seems close enough, I guess, because 2.75 seems too big. So we're doing magic loop now. And I feel like now that I have it on magic loop, I might be more interested in, or I feel like I'll be more drawn to work on it because it won't hurt my hands as much and I can work much faster. Okay, there was something else that just popped up in my head. Now I can't remember what it was. So, oh yes, okay. On to my latest FO that I am so proud of, okay? This is my best work so far, I swear to you. So this is my zipper sweater by Petite Knit. I am absolutely obsessed. This is my third Petite Knit pattern that I've done and my second Petite Knit sweater. It's also my first time doing anything with a zipper, so that was quite the learning curve. But yeah, so I did the small size, and I had some Lion Brand 100%, or the Lion Brand Respun 100% polyester. This is the yarn that I had. I had 2 skeins of this, and the first skein did the entire body. The second skein did the ribbing at the bottom of the body and then both sleeves. Yeah, so I had a lot of fun. This was like Jenny's favorite cast on method. That was my first time doing it, and now I'm like absolutely obsessed, and I want to do more with that cast on style because it just was so interesting for my brain. I don't know. Yeah, and then it's just a basic raglan. You knit flat, and then you join in the round at the bottom here, and then you work raglan increases, and then you split for the sleeves, and then you work the body in the round, and you do some very chunky ribbing at the bottom and at the bottom of the cuff, and then sew in your zipper. So this is 1x1 rib. It's half twisted rib is what it was on all of the ribbing parts. I think it looks so nice. And then just 4 rounds of double knitting and then Italian bind off, so you get this like really nice clean curved edge. I love Italian bind off. I think it just looks so nice and neat. I love ribbing. I personally prefer 2x2 ribbing. I love the way that it looks. I think it's so crisp. I don't know how else to explain it. Okay, so I talked about my knit stitches, how I learned how to do knit stitches the right way. And while working on this, I was listening to Young Folk Knits podcast with her, Casey and Becky. And Casey was talking about people not knowing how to purl the right way. And so I was taken aback by that, and I was like, do I not know how to purl the right way? So I looked up a lot of tutorials on how to purl continental style, and I found out that I was actually purling the wrong way. My stitches were backwards, so I had to reteach myself how to purl the right way. So, like I said, this is knit flat, so you can kind of tell the difference between here and here. My stitches are like kind of zigzag versus here they're nice and neat and clean and lay flat, and that's because I didn't know about this. I didn't know about my mistake that I was making. So all of my knit stitches were done the right way, where the yarn is in front of the needle when I pull it through, but my purl stitches were backwards, so the yarn was in the back and pulling through instead of it being in the front and pulling out, I guess I should say, because it's purl. So my purl stitches are all wonky, but the knit stitches are fine. But I mean, it's been blocked and you can't really tell. I mean, on camera you can really tell, but in person you can't tell that much. And it doesn't bother me that much. I still think it looks really nice. But yeah, I also have all these holes in the arms I have to go back and sew in. I just haven't done it yet. Yeah, and then what else? Oh, the zipper. Oh my gosh. The zipper drove me nuts. So you have to do this interfacing, I think is what it's called. This little section here. So the way the pattern described it, I've noticed this with her patterns, like some things are really confusing because I'm pretty sure it's translated from Dutch to English, and so some things just don't translate right, from my understanding. And so with the way that it was described how to knit that interfacing, I think it's called interfacing, but how to do that little section on the inside of the zipper, it was really confusing. And so when the first time I did it, it wasn't knit right. So it was like twisted and like not laying down flat, and just, it was off. Excuse me. So I looked up a tutorial, and then she was doing the exact same size, so it was all the same stitch count and everything, and she did hers like, she turned her sweater inside out and then was just having the knit stitches be her right side facing, like as if it's facing herself, and the purl stitches facing the sweater, the outside of the sweater, which is how it should be, but the way that the pattern describes it, it almost sounds like it's reversed. So I just followed her video and then just knit it that way. So if I can find it again, I will insert it down below so you can check it out if you are also confused on this, because I could not wrap my head around it. So I had to rip back and then follow her tutorial and then sew it in, and then it came time to sew in the zipper. And that was also confusing because the zipper was way too long, even though I got the exact size that the pattern recommends. And I just got a zipper from Joann's because the zippers at Joann's were like really cheap. I just got a cheap zipper from there. I got a navy blue one, you can kind of see. Navy blue. So yeah, I sewed it in, or I cut the tops off because from, again, me reading the pattern, it sounded like she said to cut off the tops. Maybe it's just I'm having a hard time understanding her patterns because my brain is backwards, but so I cut off the top part of the zipper, and then it was still too long, and so I went and watched Rebecca Clow from the Caribbean. She has a tutorial on her installing her zipper into her Lanark sweater, and it's basically the exact same way as doing this. So she cut off the bottom of her zipper and then went and sewed in a backing for the bottom. So I did that, but I didn't sew in the backing because I was like, oh, I'm just going to put it and tuck it in here and sew it into the sweater with the thread, so that should work. When it didn't. I unzipped it and the zipper just flung right off. So I had to like re-thread it back on, and then I zipped it up and it flung off this way. It was just a nightmare. Me and my husband were fiddling with it for so long. So I took some thread the thread that I was using to sew the zipper in. I went on to the top of the sweater, or top of the zipper, to like knit a few rounds, sew a few rounds, so that it would build, or it would kind of make like a backing or like a stopper, so the zipper wouldn't fly off. But the thread I was using was way too thin, so it didn't even make a difference, and it still slid off. So I had to go to Joann's to try and find some solutions, and I found some, let me see if I have it actually. It's like a, kind of like a leather, like thick, kind of like a wire almost. Yeah, and I used that. I don't know if I have it in here actually. Oh yeah. So, oh yeah, it's a leather cord. It's like really thick. Yeah, that's what I used. You can kind of see it's like shiny, yeah. So that's what I used, and I just like on the top here you can kind of see just went around a few times on both sides, and that works just fine. And then at the bottom, I went back and forth at the bottom of the zipper and then tucked that in and sewed it back up again. And now it works just fine. The only thing is on the inside of the sweater, I sewed the sweater too close to the teeth. So every time you zip it, it snags some fibers and it drives me nuts. But yeah. My husband wore it out to dinner last night. I will insert some pictures. He looked very handsome. And I am so obsessed with this. I am so proud of it. It is my best work yet, I swear. Oh yes, and then I have one more whip that I am thinking about abandoning. So if you watched a couple podcasts ago where I had the roofing happening and so it was like really annoying and obnoxious, I talked about how I wanted to include a few things into my wardrobe. One being a specific color of purple, that being wine purple or plum purple. The other thing being the Care Sweater by Rebecca Clow from the Caribbean. So I cast it on. It's a drop shoulder construction with some color work around the body and the arms. This is my color work. And yeah, It's, the lighting is making it look very dull, but it's actually like in person a really deep, rich plum purple. And I used a light gray. This is the same yarn, the Lion brand respun 100% polyester. Oh, the colorway for the zipper sweater is deep denim, and then this one is raisin, and then I can't remember what the gray one is. I think it might just be gray. These are my floats. So I'm knitting this on 4mm needles, but when doing the color work, my tension was so tight for some reason that I had to go to 5mm needles, and even then it's still tight. Like if I hold it up, you can kind of see it's like puckering and cinching in like so much where the color work is. And it's weird to me because I always hear about people's color work tension being too loose, but mine for some reason was extremely tight. I didn't carry my floats. This is my like second attempt at color work. This is my first time following an actual color work pattern. So I know nothing about color work. I was winging it. I watched so many tutorials and tried to like read a bunch of stuff about it, and it just, color work is way too confusing for me, I think. I don't think I am ready to be doing color work yet. I think I need to maybe do more research on it. It looks great, right? Like it looks great. The floats are immaculate, but I'm just terrified of blocking it, that it won't block out. I think it's still going to be too tight. And I'm afraid that if I go to wear it, it's going to look weird or it's going to be uncomfortable to wear because I have to do color work around the sleeves too. So I'm like debating because I don't want to rip back, because I know that if I rip back, I'm not going to do it again, because doing the color work, knitting this whole thing was very, very fun. I was feeling drawn to this and like wanting to hurry up and like join in the round, because the construction of her drop shoulders are very, very entertaining to knit. I mean, look at the seam is really nice and crisp. And then even the color work was a lot of fun because, like I said, I am a continental knitter, so I was having to learn how to hold one strand with my left hand and do a continental like I always do, while learning how to use one in my right hand and knit it English style. Sorry, my neighbors are, I don't even know what they're doing. The window's open. But yeah, so I had a lot of fun knitting this up. But the thing is like I said, the color work was really, we're gonna have to power through. I'm sorry. We're running out of daylight. The color work was a lot of fun, like to follow the chart and to like learn how to do this. But it was so strenuous on my hands because it's so tight. So if I rip back, I'm not going to want to do it again. But I'm also afraid that if I just power through and I finish this and I block it and it doesn't block out, I'm not going to want to wear it. And I just feel like it would be a waste to have something that I don't wear, unless I want to gift it to someone. But it's like, I don't know anyone that I could gift it to that would take good care of it, you know what I mean? Or that would really appreciate it as much as like another fellow knitter. Ooh, I could do that. I could give it to a fellow knitter. If you want this, let me know. I'll make it for you. Let me know down below if you want me to make that sweater for you, and it is all yours. But yeah. Okay, we have some new acquisitions that I acquired today, actually. So let's talk about that. So my husband, he took us out because he wanted to go to a store that he was really interested in. While we were out in Gresham, I was like, I've really been craving going to a yarn store like so much lately. So I was like, you know what? Let me see if there's a yarn store nearby. And there was one 7 minutes away from the shop that we were at. So I went. It was called, I think it's like knitting, what was it? This is their thing right here. Craft Emporium. Oh, right here. Knitted Wit Craft Emporium is what it is. And oh my gosh, that place is beautiful. I'll include some clips because my husband did film for me, which is I'm so grateful for. Anyway, so something that I've been wanting to try for so long, actually 2 things I've wanted to try. One being, I want to make a bookmark because we'll go into our next segment, and you'll see that I do a lot of reading. So I wanted to make some bookmarks for myself. The other one being, I want to learn how to weave because I don't know if you're like me and like you're just so obsessed with crafts and like art. So sometimes I'll watch like weaving videos and they are so satisfying. And my most favorite ones are when people will take wool or like bats, they're not bats, but they'll take like dyed wool and card it into their own bats and then like spin that into yarn or thread and then take that and like knit with it or like weave with it and then make something beautiful out of it. I love those videos. Anyway, that was really rambly. So they had little kits to make your own bookmark by weaving, okay? Which is so insane to me. So it comes with, you know, I don't even know what this is called, but the actual like thing that you would like weave on. And then it comes with this package and it has all kinds of goodies in here. So we have a few different versions of needles. Let me see if I can show this to you. So we have this little one. And then we get a nice tapestry needle with the blunt end. And then we get a big version. And then we have a couple of these guys. I don't know the names of any of these pieces because this is a new craft that I am getting into. So I don't know the names of these, but yeah. That's all the goodies that came with. And then they had so many of these different kits. So you could pick any kind of yarn that you wanted. They also had, because it comes with your own little mini, what is this? How many grams is this? Oh, it doesn't even say. I think, oh, it's 10 grams. So a little 10-gram hank. And they have like baskets and baskets of 10-gram hanks. So you could pick one and then put it with whatever kit that you want. So if like you have a kit, but you don't like the yarn that it's in, you can just pick a 10-gram hank and then put it with the kit. But this one came with this kit and I thought it was so special. So this is the colorway Rocky Mountain National Park. It is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. It's 46 yards, hand wash. Oh, it says to hand wash, lay flat to dry. It's 10 grams. And just look at the colorway. What does that remind you of? Okay, now mind you, this is to make a bookmark. Okay, what does that remind you of? Is that not Harry Potter? Okay, we have the emerald green and the blue and the orange and the red and yellow. Like, are those not the freaking houses of Harry Potter? Like, come on. So I saw this one and they had so many beautiful skeins that I wanted, like just so many colors, and I wanted all of them, but I thought it was perfect because it's a bookmark, but also when we get into our next segment, you'll see why this is so perfect. So I will be doing this tonight after Sophie goes to bed. It comes with a little pamphlet that has like instructions on it, and then on the back it has a lot of links to some resources to help you if you get stuck anywhere, and some tutorials on YouTube. And then they gave me this little card with all of their information. Super cute. And then they also gave me this that has like events that they're going to be having coming up. So if you're in the Portland metro area or anywhere near Gresham or able to get to Gresham and you want to go to those events, let me know. We can go together. Oh, hi, my boy. My kitty boy is down here. Anyway, so yeah, so I'm gonna be doing that, and then I got some more goodies from there. They had beautiful hand-dyed hanks, and I wanted all of them. When we walked in, I just kept telling my husband, I want to live here. I want to live here. I want all of the yarn here. I want it all. So I came across this one, and I immediately thought to myself, hat, and I had to have it. Look at that. Okay, so I was born and raised in the Pacific Northwest, and I love it here. It's coming out a lot brighter and dustier than in person. In person, this is like an evergreen color with like, this is like a deep grape purple, and then like this is like a emerald green. So like on camera it's really muted, but yeah, so I am a diehard Pacific Northwestern, and Pacific Northwester, not Western, Wester. I used to go hunting with my uncle, and so I used to spend a lot of time up in the woods. And one of the things that I love most about Washington State are the trees. We have beautiful evergreens and the oceans, the coast. I love the nature in this area. And so when I saw this hat, it reminded me of the woods, and I just thought it'd be a perfect hat. So, like I said, I wanted to cast on more hats, so I will also be casting this on probably tomorrow. Oh, this is, let's see, what are the contents of this? Malabrigo, machine washable. Oh wow, that's good to know. Made in Peru. Rios is the brand. It's a worsted weight. 210 yards, 192 meters, 100 grams. The gauge is 18 to 22 stitches for every 4 inches. And it says for US 7 to 9 or 4.5 to 5.5 millimeter. It doesn't specify hook or needle, but I'm assuming that goes for both. And it says it's 100% superwash merino wool. So yeah. There's no colorway though. Oh yeah, it says no dye lot. So unfortunately there's no colorway. But yeah, so that is another goodie that I got. And then they had like this table full of free stuff that you could take as a free goodies. And I got this, which I am blown away by the fact that they're giving this away for free. So it comes with Chateau de Chantilly. I don't know if I'm not saying that right at all. But these little blocks of fabric. Let me see if I can just show you some of these. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous fabric. Oh, whoops. And then it has a pattern for this cute bag. And it has the little cutouts, the little templates. So you can make this bag. French pocket. Oh, I'm just obsessed. And I'm pretty sure these may be the same fabric. Maybe not. I don't think it is, but it's close to it. I mean, it's generally the same. These fabrics are really similar to the one that's in the pattern. So I thought that was really cool. It came with some really good goodies. And then I also got, I think, well, these aren't stickers. It's a little Serenity card. I don't know. Cute. I used to be really into sewing, and quilting specifically. So the fact that I got that is actually so cute. I've really been wanting to get into sewing again, but I just haven't been able to justify it because I had an amazing sewing machine and I sold it because I used to use sewing for quilting, and I sold it. And then I've been seeing this trend come up lately of people making their own clothes. And now I want to make my own, like sew my own clothes, but I can't justify buying another sewing machine. So that's why I haven't got back into it yet. I think that is all that I have for fiber related things. So that means that we can now transition to the next segment of this video. Let's get ready for book talk. Okay, so I have a few books that I finished. I don't have one of them with me. I gave them back to the person who let me borrow it. My best friend let me borrow one of her books. I can't remember the name of it, but I'll put all the information for it up on the screen or in the description box. But I finished that book in a day, and it was really interesting. It was like these dragons from another world, another dimension. Some craziness happens and they have to come to Earth and they have to be separated, and they live here for like generations and generations. They're here for like hundreds of years. And so the first book is about this specific main character, main dragon, and he's cursed by a witch and he is losing his magic, which means he's going to die soon. So he has to find helpers to become like soul servants of his. They're like tethered to him, and they have to like help him break the curse. And he ends up finding one and falling in love with her, and then like on their journey of helping him figure out how to break his curse, she finds out stuff about herself and like her family history, and like it's all this crazy, cozy, spooky, romantic vibes that I needed for this month. So that was a really fun read. I finished it in a day, and then I went back to Coraline and I finished this, and I thought it was pretty mid, to be honest. It wasn't scary at all. It wasn't, I don't know, it was just like the movie. Just some things were different here and there. It was pretty basic, pretty boring, and I was really disappointed because I was expecting to be scared because, like I mentioned before, everything I've heard about this book is very much like, oh my gosh, it messed me up, it was so scary, like, just, you know, all that kind of stuff, and I didn't get that at all. It was really hard to, like, dive in because I feel like it was missing that, like, oomph, when a book just, like, can pull you in and put you into that world that you're reading about. It didn't have that for me. It wasn't magical in any way, so I am a little disappointed by this book. Okay, so I'm gonna now talk about what I am currently reading. It's called A Good House for Children. It's by Kate Collins. I've got this from Barnes & Noble a little bit ago, and as you can see, this is the side that I read. I am almost halfway through the book. I'm about to start chapter 12. Yeah, so this book is really good so far. The insert for like the description of the book sounded really spooky. I can read it to you. It's kind of long, but I'll read it to you really quick. Once upon a time, Orla was a woman, a painter, a lover. Now she's a mother and a wife, and when her husband, Nick, suggests that their city apartment has grown too small for their lives, she agrees, in part because she does agree, and in part because she is too tired to think about what she really does want. When Nick announces what pride that he has found in an antiquated Georgian house on the Dorset Cliffs, a good house for children, he says, with tons of space and gorgeous grounds, Orla approves. But as the family settles into the mansion, Nick, absent all week, commuting to the city for work, Orla finds herself unsettled. She hears voices when no one is around, doors open and close on their own, and her son, Sam, who has not spoken in 6 months, seems to have made an imaginary friend whose motives Orla does not trust. 4 decades earlier, Lydia moves into the same house as a live-in nanny to a grieving family. Lydia, too, becomes aware of an intangible presence in the large house, and like Orla 4 decades later, she becomes increasingly fearful for the safety of the children in her care. but no one in either woman's life believes her. The stories seem fanciful, the stuff of magic and mayhem, sprung from the imaginations of hysterical women who spend too much time in the company of children. Are both families careening toward tragedy, or Orla and Lydia seeing things that aren't there? What secrets is this house hiding? A feminist gothic tale perfectly suited for the current moment, A Good House for Children, combines an atmospheric mystery with resonant themes of motherhood, madness, and the value of women's work. So, yeah, this book, so good. I've only read the first 11 chapters, and it's already so good. So, basically, it might have been a little confusing how it was talking about two different things there, and that's exactly how it is. So, like, one chapter, will take place in 2017. And then the next chapter will take place in 1976. And so it's these two main characters, Orla and Lydia. Orla is the mother in 2017, and then it goes to 2018 because it's like transitioning, New Year's. And then Lydia, who is in 1976. And it's their two stories like side by side throughout this entire book and like all the things that they experienced. It's really good. One chapter, though, that took place in 2018 gave away some stuff that happened in 1976 that would be like a huge spoiler, I feel like. So, reading that, I was like, whoa. Like, what do you mean that happened? Those are main characters, and you're already saying this? Like, we're not even in that section of the... Like, you're giving it away, So, I've been reading, and it hasn't happened in the 1976 story yet. So, I'm like, you just gave away a big detail of this version of the story. And now I'm like, I don't want to keep reading because I'm too attached to these main characters. And if what you're saying happens, like, But besides that, the book is really, really good. Yeah, I'm really enjoying reading it. It's a really easy read, too. I've been reading it before bed, so laying in bed with it kind of dark next to my lamp, like it's been really cozy, and reading something spooky has been really fun to do. If you've been following me for a while, you know that my favorite author is Natasha Preston. I have all of these books right here are her books. I have her complete collection, except for, like, some of her other books that aren't a part of this collection, but as far as this collection goes, I have all of her books. I got her books, I think her first book was published in like 2012, and then last year I got the one for 2021, and then last year I got the one for 2022, and then this year she had two come out, so I got both of her books. I pre-ordered this one. This is my first time ever pre-ordering a book, so I felt like, I don't know, a cool book nerd, I don't know. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm pre-ordering a book, whatever. So, yeah. These are her two latest books. I haven't read them yet, but I am so excited to read them. I still have, like, a few from this collection that I need to read. I think the one from last year I haven't read yet, and then I think the one from the year before that I haven't read. But all her old ones I've already read. So, yeah. This one's called The Island. It says... Jagged Island, a private amusement park for the very rich or the very influential. Liam, James, Will, Ava, Harper, and Paisley, social media influencers with millions of followers, have been invited for an exclusive weekend before the park opens. They'll create posts and videos for the channels and report every second of their VIP treatment. When the teens arrive, they're stunned. The resort is even better than they imagined. The hotel rooms are unreal. The park's themed rides are incredible, and the island is hauntingly beautiful. Their jam-packed schedule seems to cover every moment of their visit. But soon, they realize that something's missing. Getting off the island alive. Doesn't that sound so good? And then this one, The Haunting, it's really thick. I think this is her thickest book out of this collection, because even this one's pretty thick, too, for hers. Her books are pretty thin, but this one's like really thick. Out of all the books that I have of hers, I think this is the thickest. So this one says, Penny knows she must forget about her ex Nash. Ever since his father was revealed as a brutal serial killer who traumatized their small town last Halloween, Penny's parents have forbidden her to have anything to do with Nash or his family. It's hard not to think of him, but she's trying. That stops when she goes shopping with her friends for a costume. What she finds instead is ripped from a horror movie, someone from school bleeding out on the floor of a dressing room, stabbed. People are quick to blame Nash and his sister Grace, but as Halloween nears and the body count rises, Penny can't help thinking that this copycat killer is someone no one else suspects. So the thing about her with her books is she... with this collection, because it's not a series, they're not like all continuous stories, they're individual stories, so it's a collection. She will have like a mystery, it's always somebody murdered. And then, or, well, not always, that's not true, but it's always some kind of crazy mystery. And then the end is like an insane plot twist that you would have never expected. So I am really, really excited to read this one. I think I'm going to read this one next because, yeah, this just sounds really good. Okay, now, in my last podcast or a couple podcasts ago, I talked about how my husband gave me the Twilight series for Christmas last Christmas, and I had read Twilight and New Moon, and I'm halfway through Eclipse, but I took a break to read that other book and Coraline, and now I'm reading, you know, The House for Good Children, A Good House for Children, or whatever. So I still need to go back to the Twilight series and finish that. And when I have read all of these books, or at least whenever I finish the Twilight series, I have a new series I'm going to start. Also, sorry the lighting is getting really bad. The sun is setting, so we gotta power through. Okay, I found the Harry Potter series. I got it off of OfferUp for 25 schmackrolls, 25 buckaroos for this, which is insane because a brand new friggin' Harry Potter series goes for a lot. At Barnes & Noble, I think it's like $84 or like $100 and something dollars. So to get this for 25 is insane. And it gets better, okay? The covers, so good. So the letters are like metallic and they're kind of like bumpy. And each book is a different color. So like this is red. And then if you just look, the yellow, purple, blue. My favorite one is the fourth book. Because look at this blue. Look at that. Is that not insane? Oh my gosh, yes. And I love the artwork. Anyway, so these books, somebody had bought them and she took the plastic off, but she never even took a book out. Like she never, these are paperbacks. So you know when you like read paperback and you open it and then like the cover is like bent and it doesn't shut all the way anymore? None of these are like that because none of these books have been opened. She bought it, took the plastic off of it, and then put it on her shelf and didn't touch it again. So then she gave them to her best friend to give to her son because her son was saying he really wanted these books. And then the same thing, he got them for Christmas and then put them on his shelf and never touched them. And then I bought them. So they're basically brand new, it's just the plastic is taken off. And I got it for 25 bucks. So I will be doing this collection. Oh, I also wanted to show you something really cool about this. So this is the back of the box. This is the top, side, and then this is the inside. I discovered this the other day when I was filming the podcast, or this podcast the other day, and I was like, oh my gosh, like it scared me. But yeah, the artwork in this is insane. And then the spines of the book, I don't know if you can see, but they have that same like diamond pattern. So yeah, I'm really excited. I have my 2 dream book collections plus all my other collections of books that I have been acquiring over the years. So like I have the Asylum, I don't know if you know, but the Asylum series I have here, and then I have Natasha Preston's books, and yeah, and then I have like a bunch of like Edgar Allan Poe stuff here, and I have like Grimm's Brothers tales and like the artsy back covers, and yeah, I have like, this is not even all my books. I have a lot of books that I'm collecting and I love it. I'm like like this whole shelf is full of yarn and then this whole shelf is full of books. So I just am living my cozy dreams. Yeah, I think I'm going to paint these shelves white and then maybe like do these front pieces like gold or something, just because I feel like it would brighten up the space, and also my yarn and my books would just pop a lot better if they were white. Anyway, so that is everything that I have. Sorry I had to like rush through it now because of the circumstances, but thank you so much for riding this wave with me and sticking around through this whole journey of learning how to knit and also motherhood, you know, because I started this podcast in November of last year, so it's been going for almost a year. I started it when my daughter was only a month old, and so yeah, you guys have been here with me through this entire journey, so thank you so much for sticking around. If you're new here, hit the subscribe. We have a lot of new things to discover, as you can see, you know, a lot of other crafting things, and then also just motherhood. My daughter just turned a year old, so now we're entering toddlerhood. So if you missed the newborn stage in the first year of life, get ready to join that or ride the train of toddlerhood and from there on out. So yeah, hit the subscribe button, give this a like, and stick around, and we'll see you in the next one. You can also follow me on Instagram and keep up on the behind the scenes and daily content on there as well. Love you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!